happens? Well, tonight, just an hour and a half before his self-imposed deadline, Trump backed down and managed to justify a form of an off-ramp for himself. In a post on his social media account, Trump said he had agreed to, quote, suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of, you guessed it, 2 weeks. And in case you weren't familiar, 2 weeks has long been the president's absolute favorite timeline for putting off promises that he doesn't want to deliver on.
Kill everybody tomorrow at 5 p.m. We all freak out. Then he's like, you know what, actually, I'll kill everyone in 2 weeks. Then we relax, and then he forgets he ever said it in the first place. He has the memory and the skin color of a goldfish. And maybe the worst part, well, you know he's a bananas, but maybe the worst part of all of this is how relaxed the congressional Republicans are about it. Now, he threatens to annihilate a civilization. They're like, well, you know how he is. He's a big talker. He yaps. And it's always 2 weeks. He's like a conscientious employee. He always gives 2 weeks' notice.
We're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. I could answer that question better in 2 weeks. I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks. I'll announce it over the next 2 weeks. I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now.
Trust President Putin.
You know, in about 2 weeks. You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks. We're going to start selling, hopefully, in about 2 weeks.
I'll be making a big decision on the Paris Accord over the next 2 weeks.
We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. We call it the gold card, and we're going to start selling, hopefully, in about 2 weeks. So we can just sit down, and I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks.
We'll have something in 2 weeks.
You'll have your approval in 2 weeks. I could answer that question better in 2 weeks. I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. You can ask that question in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going.
It's always 2 weeks. Always 2 weeks. Now, the 2 weeks,
Listen to me, Trump. I'm going to tell you fat fucking ass something. You're getting ready to get the living crap kicked out of you. You don't know because they haven't really told you. And let me tell you something. They're gonna start breaking the news to you kind of gently. And you're going to sit there and wonder what it feels like to be punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. But you won't know because it's quite one thing. Imagine what it's like to get punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. It's another thing to actually get punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. And that's what's going to happen to you in November. Now, let's talk about your future, your post-November future. First, people are not going to return your phone calls. They're going to correctly think, yesterday, they'll say, well, he's got 2 years left. He can do damage. No one gives a shit about him. The Democrats are going to investigate you to no end. I would like to introduce you to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, D. Rhode Island. Because it is a lot of people's view. By the way, and Congressman Jeffers and Senator Schumer, they're going to go down to the White House on November 10th, and then you're going to have some stiff photo of them sitting there talking about collegiality and cooperation. Believe that bullshit. Then they're going to start going after you. Then they're going to start figuring out where all the money stolen is. Then they're going to go after you stupid jackass kids and their spouses and all the other bullshit that you see. And they're going to investigate the shit out of you. And then when it comes to this stuff you're doing in Iran, I got to tell you, you're getting really, really close to war crimes here. You're probably going to cross the line. And the one thing that Democrats are going to insist on in the 2028 election is that if you're indicted by the International Court, I think it's in The Hague, or somewhere in the Netherlands, we're going to protect your ass. Not going to protect you. Understand that. Then it's all going to come, and they're all going to turn on you. And you know who's going to turn on you? What's left of the Republican senators. There may be 43 to 45 of them left. Now, the House is going to vote to impeach you. You're going to be impeached in 2027. Now, You say to vote to convict. Don't be surprised if the number 67 doesn't get real, because I tell you, these senators can't stand you. These Republican senators, they can't stand you. They have to be there because of their politics back in their states, but it's going to be apparent to them that you're a loser, and you're a losing fucking bet. And you're going to see all this come around you, and you're going to see this pressure from civil courts, congressional investigations. You're going to know that as soon as the Democrats get back in power, the days of Merrick Garland are gone. Bye. Thank you. Good night. Okay. And you're going to see all of this surrounding you. Then you're going to see all the civil suits. Then you're going to think about how they're going to try to get all the money back. And you're a soft man. You're not a hard man. You're not going to be able to take it. And you're going to be very, very lonely. Very lonely. And you're going to be left with sycophants in your cabinet. And don't even get me started as to what's going to happen to Pete Hegseth. I don't think Pete Hegseth realizes how much he's despised in those 5 rings. Pete, there are people that have notes, there are people that have diaries. Everything that you've done is going to come forth. You understand that? Trust no one. They hate you. They can't stand you. And, of course, they're loyal people, and they will bide their time, but they're also patriotic people, and they will respond to legally issued subpoenas, duces tecum. That means documents, diaries, notes, everything. Yeah, they're coming after you, Pete. They're coming after you with your fake-ass macho bullshit, bombing schools in Iran, crap like that. But Trump, about a year from now, you're going to look at it and you're going to see all of the exposure that you have. Your phone calls are not going to be returned. Foreign leaders don't give a shit about you because you're going to be a lame duck. You're not going to get any judicial nominees through. Forget about it. Forget about it. And then you're going to have what we refer to as a come to Jesus moment. You're going to assess where you are, even through your cloudy, stupid, fat-addled brain. You're going to figure out, I got to get the hell out of here. And you're going to cut a deal, and you're going to resign, and JD is going to pardon you. You got to pardon a lot of other people, but he's a creepy, ambitious little twerp. He'll do whatever he can to get in the White House. They can't pardon you for state crimes. They can't pardon you in the International Criminal Court. They can't pardon you for any of this. And they can't pardon you for civil. Just right now, your life as you knew it is getting ready to end. And I'm not one of these people that want you to get sick. Oh, no. I want you to be fully cognizant. I want you to watch that fucking television on election night when the American people tell you how much they can't stand the sight of you. I want you to see it, and I want you to feel the pain. And then I want the congressional people to come in and tell you, sir, you don't have any support left on the Hill. They're all turning on you. And they're going to turn you in. And you're going to have a terrible, terrible existence. And it's an existence that you richly, richly deserve.
In any case, Trump seems to have put off for this moment, right while we are sitting here, the catastrophic strikes he's been promising. And it feels kind of like we've been here before, doesn't it? It's because we have. I mean, last month, Trump gave Iran 48 hours to open the Strait of Hormuz, threatening to obliterate the country's power plants if they didn't comply by March 23rd. But when that day arrived, Trump extended his deadline by 5 days, saying the U.S. would hold off until March 28th. Then he extended that deadline by 10 days, setting it for April 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then this past Sunday, he inexplicably shifted it back by another 24 hours to April 7th, which was this evening. And now, of course, he's postponed that deadline by 2 weeks, which would push it back to April 21st. But right now, after all that bluster, after all that maximalist language and reprehensible threats of genocide, after all that, where does this leave us? I mean, gas prices are at their highest levels in years, with the national average now sitting at $4.14 a gallon, according to AAA. Trump has destroyed America's already fractured relationship with our closest allies, threatening the future of the NATO alliance. America has lost any moral authority on the question of war crimes and whether we can expect other countries to adhere to the Geneva Conventions as Trump ignores them. He's risked the prestige of America's military, treating them like a bunch of toy soldiers. And today, the regime that was facing mass protests just a short few months ago mobilized hundreds of Iranians to take to the streets and form a human chain around the power plants and bridges that the U.S. had threatened to target. When the president was asked by NBC News about that, he said without a hint of irony that the demonstrations were, quote, totally illegal, adding they're not allowed to do that. So if you're keeping track, the president insists it's fair game to wipe out an entire country in violation of international law. But if Iranians gather on their bridges and around their power plants, he says that's illegal. Meanwhile, Trump's insane threats have become something of a last straw for many in the president's fraying MAGA coalition. Right-wing influencers like Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene are now calling on Trump's cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove Trump from office. And just listen to this familiar sounding edict from MAGA influencer Tucker Carlson.
If you work in the White House or in the U.S. military, now it's time to say no, absolutely not. And say it directly to the president, no. Those people who are in direct contact with the president need to say no. I'll resign. I'll do whatever I can do legally to stop this because this is insane. And if given the order, I'm not carrying it out. Figure out the codes on the football yourself.
Sound familiar? Tucker Carlson is imploring members of the military not to carry out any illegal orders issued by Donald Trump. That's essentially the same advice that several Democratic lawmakers gave to members of the armed services last year. It's the advice that prompted Trump to accuse those Democrats of treason, target them for retribution. Trump's defense secretary even tried to demote Senator and retired Navy Captain Mark Kelly over his role in that message to service members. Now, after the president just walked the nation to the brink of carrying out a major war crime on his behalf, I actually can't think of anyone better to talk to. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. He's, of course, a member of the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services.
Well, I mean, we're still in the same spot I think we were in a couple of weeks ago or even weeks before that. We have a president that has no, strategic plan, no goal he was trying to achieve, or at least moving the goalposts over and over again. He's not a serious president. He doesn't think before he speaks. What he said this morning was incredibly disturbing, that he was going to end a civilization that, by the way, has been around for thousands of years. And in doing that, he was basically saying that he was going to commit unlawful acts, which I've been concerned about since November. So I am, certainly somewhat relieved for now that there are not going to be massive strikes on civilian infrastructure in violation of the law, but we will have to see what happens next. I mean, he is not in my view, not a serious person. He doesn't listen to people around him. He doesn't get great advice when you consider who he put around him. And we're at a really, challenging point here. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and I don't see how any of this has helped the American people.
I want to get to that.
Every time that
Bye.